Hey guys! In this video we're making a paracord dog collar. It's got a quick release buckle and a little D-link here. I've used two different colours for this collar. I really like the contrast of the two different colours, but you can just use one colour of paracord as well. So I've got my green and blue 4mm paracord, and we've got a quick release buckle and a quality D-ring. You might need to play around a little bit with the sizes to get them right for your size dog collar. The length of cord is a little bit tricky as well, but I always think it's better to have a little bit extra length than not quite enough at the end. My dog is quite small and her current collar is about 31 centimeters long. For my 31 centimeter collar, we're using about 380 centimeters of paracord. I'm using two colours, so I've got two 190 centimetre lengths and I'm going to join them in the middle. So the method is about 1 foot or 30 centimetres for every 3 centimetres of length on your collar. Now to join our two lengths of paracord, I clip one end onto something. Both ends have already been melted, so they've got that blob of melted fibre on the ends already. And now we just fuse them together. So gently melting both ends. When they're soft, you can touch them together, putting a little bit of pressure on there as well. And then I come in with some pliers and put some pressure onto that joint as well. That really helps to fuse all those fibres inside the joint. Once you're happy it's a nice strong join, then we can place the cord onto the buckle. So making a bend where this join in the middle is and sliding it slightly off centre. We want that join to be covered by our wrapping. Now each buckle is a little bit different too, but for mine I'm going to bring my loop up the first hole and then place it down that second hole. Now bringing my ends through that loop, pulling that down nice and tight, and that makes a small lark's head knot. You can play around until you're happy with how this part looks, but we're going to place another lark's head knot next to it. So grabbing the cord to the right hand side, bringing it up that first hole, and taking it down that second hole. Now I'm bringing that cord down through that loop we created. So that makes half of the lark's head knot. Now for the second half, we grab our same cord, this time taking it up that second hole and down that first hole, and then bringing it through that loop we created. Now you can pull these loops nice and tight. Make sure you're happy with these connections before you move on. If you're making a wider collar with a bigger buckle, you might also need more of these knots here. Now we need to size our collar. So from the buckle, we're working on this line here. So obviously the buckle clips together. So this line here is where we're measuring from and to on the buckle. So starting right at the end, my collar is going to be 31 centimeters long. And if you're measuring straight off a dog, it needs to be a couple of centimeters bigger. So they say big enough to fit a few fingers underneath the collar. But I'm lucky I have a previous collar as well. So now we place the other end of our buckle on. So threading both threads through the buckle, making sure it's all up the right way. And bringing it down so that our collar will be that 31 centimeters long. So remember measuring from those two straight lines on the buckle where it's going to clip together. Now holding it on that point on this end of the buckle, we're going to tie our lark's head knots on this end as well. So these cords come down through the buckle and I've brought the end up the middle in between the green and blue cords. Now we're coming up the buckle and then taking the cord down through this loop. So that makes our blue lark's head knot. Now we're going to do the same on this side. So again, that cord's going down through the buckle. So just gently sliding it over, making sure I've got enough room. So bringing it up the middle and around this green cord. Now we're taking it up the buckle and then back down through this loop. Making sure it's not twisted and it's all sitting nicely. Now you can readjust the length of your collar and make sure both of these cords are the same length. So making sure it still sits on that 31 centimetre mark, and now you can make sure that everything is pulled nice and tight into that right position. Now I find it's easiest to do this weaving part if your collar's clipped onto something, so hopefully you can find something to pin it onto. Now we start by bringing the left side around across to the right, leaving a little loop. Now we take this green cord down over the blue cord, under and up that loop on the left hand side. Now for a square knot we alternate each stitch, so this time bringing the right side cord around across to the left, leaving our loop, and the green cord comes down over, under and up that loop on the right hand side. Now it's up to you where you put your D-link, but I like mine to be quite close to the buckle so it sort of falls underneath the neck. So we just place that onto our cord and now do our same stitch. So just leaving that loop on the left hand side, taking our other cord down over, under and up that loop, pulling that nice and tight, and now working that little D-link into the right position on the top of our collar here. So it will take a couple of stitches. I like to put at least 2 or 3 through the D-link to make sure it's on nice and secure. So bringing that cord through the D-link on the way over to the other side, pulling it the whole way through. Now the same thing with our green cord, so just taking it down over that blue cord and then underneath to come up that loop on the right hand side. Just checking that that D-link is sitting in the right position on the front of your collar. And I'll do another stitch now. So again, bringing that cord through the D-link on the front, bring that green cord down over the blue cord, under and up that loop on the left hand side. So you pretty much want these stitches to cover the whole straight part of that D-link. So I'll do another one here, again bringing it through that D-link. Now the green cord down over and up that loop on the opposite side. So it's up to you how many stitches you do. Obviously if you've got quite a big D-link you might want more stitches there. Now we just continue alternating our square knots the whole way down our collar. Now hopefully by the time you've reached the end you have had enough cord to get right to the end. I have had to unpick them at this stage before, but hopefully you don't have to do that and you've had enough to go all the way to the end. Now all that's left to do is cut those ends off and fuse them onto the collar. Now to finish it off, we just gently cut the ends on each side. So I do one at a time, cutting that first one and gently melting and tapping to fuse it onto the knot. So take your time and make sure you're melting it right onto the knot to lock it in place. Same on this side as well, gently melting and tapping it to fuse it onto the knot. We really like these collars to be super strong and keep your pups safe. So there's our beautiful simple paracord dog collar.